You just got done with a long day. Work was stressful, your brain feels fried, your body is tired, and all you want to do is decompress. So you do what everyone does. You pick up your phone, you open Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, maybe Twitter, and you start scrolling. You tell yourself, I just need to relax for a few minutes. 30 minutes later, you finally put the phone down. And here's the thing nobody talks about. You don't feel better. You feel worse. You feel more drained than before you picked it up. Your eyes are heavy, your brain feels foggy. That low-level anxiety that was there before is somehow even more present now. But you did that to relax, so why do you feel worse? Most people just chalk it up to being tired. They think they need more sleep or more coffee tomorrow. They never question the scrolling itself, because scrolling feels like rest. It feels passive. It feels like you're doing nothing. But here is the truth. Scrolling is one of the most cognitively and neurologically demanding things you can do to your brain, and calling it relaxation is one of the biggest lies modern life has sold you. In this video, I am going to show you exactly what happens to your brain during those 30 minutes of scrolling, why it feels like rest but isn't, what it is actually doing to your energy, your focus, and your nervous system, and what real rest actually looks like. This one is going to change how you think about your phone forever. Let's get into it. Let's start by destroying the myth that scrolling is passive. When you scroll through a social media feed, your brain is not resting. Your brain is working constantly, rapidly, and at a very high cost. Here is what is happening neurologically every single second you scroll. 1. Constant visual processing. Every new image, video, or piece of text that appears on your screen requires your visual cortex to process it, identify it, categorize it, decide if it's relevant or not. Your eyes are moving rapidly. Your brain is tracking motion, reading text, interpreting faces and emotions in images, all simultaneously. This is not passive. This is your visual system running at near full capacity. 2. Rapid decision-making. Every single post requires a micro-decision. Do I keep scrolling or do I stop? Do I read this? Do I watch this video? Do I click this link? Do I like this? Do I share this? These decisions happen so fast you barely notice them. But your prefrontal cortex, the decision-making center of your brain, is making hundreds of these micro-decisions every minute. Decision fatigue is real, and scrolling burns through your decision-making capacity faster than almost any other activity. 3. Emotional processing. Social media is not neutral content. Every post carries emotional charge. Something funny triggers amusement. Something sad triggers empathy. Something outrageous triggers anger. Something beautiful triggers desire. Something someone else achieved triggers comparison or inadequacy. Your brain's emotional processing centers, particularly your amygdala, are firing constantly as you scroll, processing, reacting, regulating. This is exhausting work that your brain is doing beneath your conscious awareness. 4. Dopamine anticipation loop. Every scroll is powered by a dopamine anticipation loop. Your brain is constantly in a state of low-level anticipation. What is the next post going to be? Will it be interesting? Will it be funny? Will it be something relevant to me? This anticipation keeps your brain in a mild state of arousal the entire time you scroll. It is stimulating, not calming. It is activating, not restoring. Scrolling is not doing nothing. It is doing everything simultaneously at high speed for extended periods. That is the opposite of rest. So if scrolling is so cognitively expensive, why does it feel like rest? This is the really important question. And the answer comes down to what rest actually feels like in a depleted brain. Your brain confuses stimulation with relief. Think about what your day felt like before you picked up your phone. Stressful, demanding, requiring focused effort, difficult conversations, complex problems, high cognitive load. Now compare that to scrolling. No hard decisions, no social performance, no consequences, no effort required. Compared to the demands of your day, scrolling feels like relief. But relief is not the same as recovery. Recovery is actual restoration of your cognitive and physiological resources. You feel less stressed while scrolling because the content is easy and non-threatening. But your brain is still burning fuel, still processing information, still working. The stress went down, but the depletion continued. The dopamine trap. Here is something crucial about how dopamine works. Dopamine is released in anticipation of a reward, not necessarily during it. The scroll gives you small, unpredictable hits of novelty, something funny, something interesting, something surprising. Each one releases a tiny pulse of dopamine. These dopamine pulses feel good in the moment. They create a sense of mild pleasure and engagement, and your brain associates that feeling with relaxation because it is the thing you do when you want to unwind. But after an extended scrolling session, your dopamine system is not recharged, it is depleted. You used up reward circuitry without doing anything that actually replenishes it. This is why after 45 minutes of scrolling, you often feel flat, empty, and strangely unsatisfied. The absence of resistance feels like rest. Real rest, true cognitive recovery often requires tolerating something uncomfortable. Silence, stillness, boredom, the absence of stimulation. These things feel deeply uncomfortable to a brain that has been conditioned on constant input. Boredom feels wrong. Silence feels threatening. Just sitting feels like wasting time. So when scrolling eliminates that discomfort, when it fills the silence and removes the boredom, your brain interprets that as a success, as relief, as rest. But what you actually did was avoid the discomfort that leads to real recovery. You short-circuited the process. Scrolling doesn't feel like rest because it is restful. It feels like rest because it removes the discomfort of actual rest. That is a very dangerous distinction. Let's talk about the real cost, because it accumulates. And most people never connect these symptoms to their scrolling habits. Cognitive drain. Your thinking gets worse. Every hour of scrolling is an hour your brain spent processing low-value, high-volume information instead of actually recovering. Over time, this creates what researchers call cognitive overload. Your working memory gets clogged. Your ability to think clearly and creatively deteriorates, and tasks that used to feel manageable start to feel overwhelming. Have you noticed that after a big scrolling session, you find it harder to do focused work? That sitting down to write, think, plan, or create feels harder than it should? That is cognitive drain in action. Your brain spent its fuel on the feed. Attention fragmentation. Every post on social media is designed to be consumed in seconds. The average video on TikTok is under 30 seconds. Instagram posts are processed in less than that. Twitter punishes length. The entire medium is engineered for rapid micro-attention. When you spend hours per day training your brain to switch attention every 3 to 10 seconds, you rewire it. Your brain gets better at rapid attention switching and dramatically worse at sustained focus. Sitting with a single task for 20 uninterrupted minutes starts to feel physically uncomfortable. This is not just a feeling. Brain imaging studies show structural changes in the prefrontal cortex of heavy social media users, specifically in the regions responsible for sustained attention and impulse control. Emotional dysregulation. Social media feeds are not emotionally neutral. They are curated to maximize engagement. which means they are biased toward content that triggers strong emotional responses. Outrage, envy, fear, desire, comparison. Each of these emotional reactions activates your stress response. Each one requires your emotional regulation system to process and manage it. After an hour of this, your emotional regulation reserves are depleted. You are more reactive, more irritable, more sensitive. Not because anything real happened to you, but because your emotional system spent an hour processing 100 different synthetic emotional triggers. Sleep destruction. Most people scroll in bed. This is arguably the most damaging time to scroll. The blue light from your screen suppresses melatonin production, the hormone that signals your brain it is time to sleep. But this is actually the lesser problem. The bigger issue is that scrolling keeps your brain in a state of alertness and emotional engagement right up until the moment you try to sleep. Your nervous system needs a wind-down period before sleep, a gradual transition from sympathetic activation to parasympathetic rest. Scrolling does the exact opposite. It keeps your nervous system stimulated and then abruptly cuts off. Your brain doesn't know how to transition, so it keeps processing, keeps replaying. You lie there exhausted but unable to fully drop off. And when you do sleep, it's shallow. The hour of scrolling before bed doesn't just cost you that hour. It costs the quality of the next 8 hours of sleep. That is the real price.
Okay, so if scrolling isn't rest, what is? This is where I want to be very direct with you, because real rest is not complicated. It is just deeply uncomfortable for a brain that has been conditioned on constant stimulation. Real rest has one defining characteristic. Your brain is receiving low or zero external input and is allowed to process, wander, or simply be still. That's it. That is the definition. And here is what that actually looks like in practice. Restorative rest option 1, unfocused mind wandering. This is what happens when you stare out a window, when you sit on a porch and watch the world, when you take a walk without headphones, when you lie in bed before sleep without your phone. During these moments, your brain enters its default mode network, the maintenance and restoration state we have talked about in previous videos. It processes emotional residue from the day. It consolidates memories. It generates creative connections. It repairs. This feels boring. That boredom is the sensation of your brain actually recovering. You have been conditioned to escape that feeling. Stop escaping it. Restorative rest option 2, physical movement without screens. A walk, a slow jog, stretching, light yard work, any physical movement done without audio input gives your thinking brain a genuine rest while keeping your body gently active. Your mind is free to wander, problems get solved, emotions get processed, energy returns. This is why people say they get their best ideas on walks. It is not coincidence. It is the default mode network running uninterrupted. Restorative rest option 3, genuine social connection. Real in-person conversation, not texting, not social media, is deeply restorative for most people. It activates your social nervous system in a way that social media never can. You get eye contact, tone of voice, shared physical presence. Your nervous system registers genuine safety and connection. This is restorative in a way that 500 Instagram likes will never be. Restorative rest option 4, sensory simplicity. A hot shower without mentally planning your day, eating a meal and actually tasting the food, sitting in sunlight for 10 minutes without doing anything else. These are not productivity hacks. These are moments of genuine sensory simplicity that give your brain a break from information processing. The common thread in all of these is that they are low input, low stimulation, and non-digital. They allow your brain to shift from processing mode into restoration mode. The phone is not where your energy is waiting. The rest is, and it is available every single time you choose not to scroll.
I want to end with something honest. I am not telling you to delete your apps. I am not telling you that social media is evil or that you should never scroll again. That is not realistic, and it is not the point. The point is this: stop lying to yourself about what scrolling is doing for you. When you tell yourself you are relaxing, know that you are not. When you tell yourself you deserve a break and then pick up your phone, know that what you are actually giving yourself is more stimulation, more depletion, and less recovery. That is not a judgment, that is just information. And with that information, you can make a different choice. Not always, not perfectly, but sometimes. Especially in the moments that matter most. The morning before your day begins, the evening before your sleep, the quiet moment between tasks that your brain is trying so hard to recover from. In those moments, try putting the phone down. Try sitting with the discomfort of no stimulation for 5 minutes. Try letting your brain do what it is trying so hard to do. It will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is the sensation of real rest beginning. Your brain is not broken. It is not lazy. It is not failing you. It is completely overwhelmed by an environment that was engineered to overwhelm it, and it is trying, moment by moment, to find a window to recover. Give it that window. That is all it needs, and everything else gets better from there. If this landed for you, share it with someone who scrolls to relax, and subscribe for more on what modern life is doing to your brain and what to do about it.